Hello, and welcome to the 7th episode of the Huntington Wiffle League podcast. I'm your host, Josh Smith, with my co-host and producer,
Jeremy Litton.
Great episode of the podcast for you this evening. Unfortunately, this is the first time in this podcast history that Greg Sowers will not be joining us. He's in a better place.
He's married.
Congratulations, and we're sorry. Exclusive interview in this episode. For the first time, we're trying something new. We're interviewing people on the phone. First time we're doing this. Aaron Torchio and Kevin Haynes of the Cincinnati Wiffle Club of Cincinnati, Ohio.
Wait, I thought it was Torchio.
No, it's Torchio. That sounds much more festive. We're going to go with more festive.
It sounds like a tortilla chip.
They're fun guys. They deserve fun names.
Okay.
So his last name
Fair
is
enough.
Haynes instead of Haynes. Aaron Torchio and Kevin Haynes of the Cincinnati Wiffle Ball Club. Exclusive interview via telephone. We're here, people. It's been a busy month since the last episode of the podcast, Jeremy. Spring training starts this week. Can you believe it? It seems like no time since we did our first podcast in the offseason, and it's already time for next season.
Where did time go?
I don't know, but these podcasts have really paid off. This has been the most I've ever looked forward to a season in my wiffle ball career, and I think it's in part thanks to us having this podcast in the offseason. So, you know, since day one of the offseason, it was looking like we were going to have a lot of teams going into the 2014 season. We went from a possibility of 12 when we were approaching the winter meeting last month to 10, and now we are regrettably down to 8 teams for the regular season. Maroon Squad dropped out at the last second, non-officially. They just continued to not make contact with us and not turn anything in that was necessary to participate this season. So that gave us 9 teams because your team, the Fat Bastards, stepped in to take the place of the Pink Penguins in the River City division. And now we were holding out at 9 teams. We tried every social avenue imaginable to try to reach out to get a 10th team, but unfortunately there just appears to be no time.
Well, apparently nobody wants blow for a team.
Yeah.
So, especially in Little Detroit, I mean, no matter what I did to get a team, even getting down on my knees didn't help. So, anyway, there is no 10th team.
So, we're looking at, I had to make a hard decision. I had to go, realistically, Jeremy, how can I make a 9-team schedule? It just can't be done. I can't have an odd number and end up with even results with every team playing the same amount of teams and it not be some sort of oddball rotation in the schedule every week. Somebody was going to get left out and somebody was going to have to do a little more. We had an odd amount of teams during fall ball and it was havoc. I could not come up with a schedule in a decent amount of time ahead of time. So I must ask you, Godfather of the Huntington Wiffle Ball League.
Well, I sort of am.
To forgive me.
Saved your ass a few times already.
Yes. So forgive me, but I had to make the toughest call so far of the 2014 season, and I hope they don't get any tougher than this. I had to ask you to pull your team out from the 2014 season.
You some bitch!
So tell me, reflect upon that decision we've had to make. Do you think it was the right decision to make? In the long run, for the longevity of the season, are you okay with the fact that we had to tell your team to step out?
I'm okay with the fact because I get to be the media producer again instead of actually playing. Yeah. Poor little Michael Sumner and poor Mikey, they have to go to other teams.
Yeah. Well,
if they play.
It seems that it worked out for the best. Your team was bursting with roster possibilities when we last got together to record the podcast last month. We were looking at Thelmer Dammer being a sub, right. Trey, better known as Dub, Hathaway, participating. Chris Ramey, formerly of Welfare Warriors and the Beaver Fever, threw in his lot. We were looking at Kyle Hetrick was going to come back, but little by little
seems to have disappeared for one reason or another. So even if you had taken everyone into account that could have been on my team, all those that could have been, and even made it a 4-man or even 5-man team, you still could have had your 10th team there.
Yeah.
If you could get commitments.
Yeah.
Which is kind of hard to get these days.
So when it all came down to it, it was looking like you Michael Sumner, Mike Saxton, and everybody else that was
We could've
allegedly
kicked
going to
ass.
be on your team.
We still would have beat your team, Josh.
That may be so. But it looked like everybody else that was supposed to be on your team was fading out. So it seems that was for that reason.
It's probably the welfare warrior stigma.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame them.
But, even if your team would have played, it would not have been as strong as it needed to be to actually compete. It would have been welfare warrior syndrome all over again. It just would have been a whipping team because you had a roster that just did not meet the expectations of the other teams because every other team had at least 5 players. You were outgunned by every team in the division. Wasn't even close. You did have experienced players, but you didn't really have any dominant star power. You had no wow factor on the team. You would have if
I had Mikey. Star power.
Yes. If everybody that was supposed to be on your team you would have had a strong contending team. I honestly believe that. So it's a tragedy, really, but I think it works out for the best and it restores balance, most importantly. So you've helped the league out in 2 ways this year, and the first way you did, the second way that you helped the league, it countered your first way. So I still count it as 2. The first way, of course, you stepped up, and this was hot news last month, and took the spot that the Pink Penguins vacated with a new team. Started a team from scratch, and now you're saying, never mind. And it still works out. You are the saint of the Huntington Wiffle Ball League.
It is what it is.
Yes.
So, I do what I have to.
Yeah. Hopefully next year, if you're willing to participate in a team format, you will be able to follow through with it. It's not so much because your team was not really coming along. It was because we didn't have a 10th team to make it necessary for your team to still participate. So it's unfortunate. But we're out of time. It's go time. We need to start focusing on equipment. We need to focus on the schedule making. We need to focus on how can we make this the best season of the Huntington Wiffle Ball League possible. Not just so far, but ever. We have to set the bar high. We have the attention of all these different teams now that were not participating with us last year, and we need to hold their focus. Because somewhere along the way, we lost something that we gained in 2013. You pointed out to me before we started recording.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't anyone find it weird that all the teams we had last season are now gone?
Yeah.
All the new teams, I should say.
Yeah.
Josh is still here, of course, but Pink Penguins, Maroon Squad, Holy Balls, gone. Never to be seen again.
And the Terrahawks and Beaver Fever would not have had the manpower to still exist separately. We had to consolidate teams. If we somehow would have been able, if Greg and I still would have been able to keep our 2 teams from last year going, the Fat Bastards still could have existed, and we would have had 10 teams, but we would have had 3 weak franchises. Plain and simple. Only one of those would have been making the playoffs, just as a numbers game. So I think, bigger is not always better. We've made the right decision, and we've chosen the right course of action.
And in a way, we are still expanding.
Yeah.
We had 6 teams last season.
Mm-hmm.
This is 8.
Yeah. We started out with 4.
I think 3 faux teams, 4 faux teams. You had 2 definite teams, 2 that were meh.
Yeah.
They were there.
So we're gaining steady numbers, but this year we're focusing on quality, not quantity. We finally have enough to justify we have 2 divisions, and that makes scheduling way easier. The schedule for this year, if you are interested and you're listening as one of the players on the team, this is the scheduling format. It is as follows. We have a 10-week, 20-game schedule for the league for each team. You play doubleheaders every night, which is on Tuesday nights. Now, since we have 4 fields and 8 teams, we will not necessarily have games at 5:30. We will have 6 o'clock games, and we will have 7 o'clock games. So every single team should be able to get there at 6 o'clock instead of 5:30. That works out on multiple planes. We have extra time to set up, and we also get out of there earlier. So it's a win-win. It's always going to be challenging at the first few weeks of the season because of the daylight issues. But you will play the other 3 opponents in your division 4 times, so that's 12 games right there. And then you will play all 4 teams in the opposing division 2 times. 8 games of that, plus the 12, you have 20 games. First 3 weeks, you're going to be playing each one of the opponents in your division one time through, a doubleheader series. And then you play your interleague game plays. Middle of the season, we're having an all-star break. And then at the end, you play everyone in your division one more time. And then, that's a pretty good that's as closest to MLB as it's going to get for us. So I think it's a good format, and having an even amount of teams was crucial to make that happen. So that's the scheduling format.
Now, with my sacrifice of the Fat Bastards to the altar, I would like to, or for the sake of balance, actually, I would like to make this offer to Mr. Coffee of WSEM that the Fat Bastards make a trip from Little Detroit to Big Detroit once every month.
You're calling Huntington Little Detroit. Some of our listeners may not understand that terminology. Please explain quickly and in a nutshell why we call Huntington Little Detroit.
Well, half of Huntington drives around with Michigan tags, and half the town's dead. They might as well turn off the lights. It's poor, broke, and, well, it looks like Detroit on one end of Huntington, so that's why it's Little Detroit. Oh, plus drug problems.
But it seems that every time I see on the news that there is some sort of, gang-related murder, it's some guy that goes by some nickname, and he's from Detroit.
It just happens to be that way.
We're not only importing cars from Detroit, is all I'm saying.
Again, the cars are coming from Detroit with Michigan tags, Josh. That's all I can say. Generally, they're about, you see a lot of Caprices and Crown Vics. That's all I can really tell everyone. So, basically, Huntington, West Virginia, looks like Detroit. A lot of people from Detroit. So, therefore, it's Little Detroit. Anyway, Carl, let's talk. I want to bring the Fat Bastards to the WSEM once a month because I don't have that kind of cash to drive up there, apparently like my friends with the Crown Vics and Caprices. So, how say you? Will you welcome the Fat Bastards to Michigan? Because we're fat and we're bastards.
Hashtag Little Detroit. Holler.
Thug life.
It's the least he could do. When I was advertising for the 10th team, he said, hey, you have an imbalance. The easiest solution this late in the game would be to just drop the 9th team. That's what we did with the Flying Squirrels a couple of years ago, and we had a great season. So, we took his advice, and if it doesn't work out, maybe having a Little Detroit, Big Detroit meet up every now and then, that's the way to do it.
And that could even go into a tournament.
Yeah. Would be great.
Bypass the whole Columbus stuff. Maybe not as legit, but,
Okay.
Anyway.
So, the Fat Bastards dropping out leaves this gaping hole in the River City division, which it has been a nightmare since day one, since we spun the wheel at the winter meeting to fill that division and bring balance to it. Jewel City division has been rock solid from the very beginning. And Bag tag, Green Bears, sit on my base, wiffle ballers.
And with the Fat Bastards dropping out and Mikey now going back to your team,
Green Bears.
The Green Bears. Sorry, I almost said Terrahawks. With that dropout, Mikey now goes back, and now every team on the roster in the Jewel City division is full. All 6 slots.
Yeah. Every team has a full 6-man roster in the Jewel City division.
And that's the first time in the history of the league that we've had actual full teams, 4 full teams, without any slots, open.
Yeah. But River City division, it's been a trial, to say the least, to fill. Maroon Squad was supposed to be at the top of it. Now they're gone. Pink Penguins were supposed to be the 2nd seed in that division. They're gone. And your team, Fat Bastards, took their spot. Now you're gone. Breaking Balls.
Not by choice.
Honey Badgers. They've always been there since we spun the wheel from day one. Poker Night, formerly known as Go Jackie Go, were shaky up until a couple weeks ago. Scott's really gotten that team together lately. So they're looking stronger than ever. But, we've always had we're juggling Maroon Squad's out, Fat Bastards are out now, and then we have a 5-team division on the other side. So I had to decide somebody from Jewel City needs to go and fill that top spot in the River City to bring balance to the league again, to the standings. So I decided the Wiffle Ballers should be that team because they were they were the last team picked for the Jewel City division, and that was based on chance. Also,
even though I think they're going to be number one in your division.
With the Wiffle Ballers going up
stay.
to the top of the River City division, that makes sense because they technically kind of were the runner-up of the Fall Ball League, which is all that matters anymore because no teams from the 2013 regular season exist, so there is no clout to carry over. Fall Ball is all we have that is relevant when it comes to seeding. Also, the Wiffle Ballers will be directly across bracket-wise from Team Bag Tag, and they are arch rivals, so it makes it interesting. So for a host of reasons, Wiffle Ballers are the team that I selected to Red Rover over to the River City division. I asked Stephanie about it. She talked it over with her team. Everything's got the A-OK. On another note, hot stove news. It's been slowing down because it was so explosive last month and teams really got their shit together. But there's still a few transactions that are happening here and there. Namely, one that happened today. Alex McCoy. He's been on the fence because he's been looking for work. He didn't know for the longest time if he'd still be in town or not. Didn't stop him from attending the winter meeting. That's commendable. That's something that's noteworthy. But he decided he was able to actually stay in Huntington this summer, and he wants to play ball. I had a spot open on my team because Mike left my team to join your team, the Fat Bastards, and now he boomeranged back.
It's because we're bastards.
On the exact same day that happened, Alex McCoy's like, "Hey, buddy, I want to play." And I'm like, damn it! He would be perfect. He's the perfect player, and I don't even remember watching him play during fall ball. He's tall, he's easygoing, he's lanky. Those long arms are going to be great on defense. He's got a long swing, no doubt. And he could probably pitch pretty well because he has further reach to the mound.
So, long story short, where's he going?
He is going to be going to Wee Willie Wiffle. They were having trouble finding a sixth player, having trouble finding a fifth player, to be honest, and they still have a player on the team that has not played his league fee. So as far as I'm concerned, even with Alex going to that team, officially, they're looking at a five-man roster unless the guy who hasn't paid yet gets his act together and pays his registration fee. So that officially, unofficially, fills up Wee Willie Wiffle, and thus becomes the Jewel City division has the all teams with six-man rosters. So that is the latest for Hot Stove news.
So both leagues now have six-man rosters.
The other side, Poker Night only has 5. Honey Badgers only has 5.
And this goes out to Poker Night and the Honey Badgers if you're looking for a six-man. There is one fat bastard open. His name is Michael Sumner. He pitched for me on the Welfare Warriors. Not bad. Not necessarily the greatest. He works very hard. So, he still wants to play, but I'll bring him to you. Due to logistics and where he lives and everything. But if you're interested, let us know. Josh or I, and we'll get in contact with him and let him get in contact with you.
We actually won't get into contact with him because he's an asshole and he's a diva now. We'll get into contact with his agent, and then they'll talk money from there. It's normally not money, it's food that he
he likes Taco Bell, just letting you know.
Mm-hmm.
Lots and lots of Taco Bell.
Okay.
It's sickening.
All right, when we come back, we will have our exclusive interview with Aaron Torchillo and Kevin Henez of the Cincinnati Wiffle Ball Club.
Welcome to Fresh Air with Jeremy Litton. Huntington Wiffle Edition. As we all know, wiffle ball leagues come and go. People may stay, friends may leave. But one thing remains the same. Our love for the game. Josh Smith recently interviewed Aaron Torchillo and Kevin Henez of the Cincinnati Wiffle Ball Club. This is their story. This is their wiffle ball league. Enjoy.
Hey, this is Kevin.
Hello, this is Aaron.
Hi, this is Josh with the Huntington Wiffle League.
Yep.
Aaron?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right. Well, thanks.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah, you guys can say hello to each other too. That's fine.
Thanks.
Okay. I just only have 5 questions. So, guys, tell me, how did the Cincinnati Football Club start?
I'll give like the history of the club, and then Aaron can jump in and kind of give the transition to how we started forming the league, as he's currently interim commissioner, which he earned that title because no one else wanted it. So we started maybe 4 or 5 years ago. That's about right. And I think we used to play like in parks, and then we also had a friend who had a field in his backyard. So we used to play in his yard, and then at some point he just decided he didn't really like us anymore. Kind of a complicated story. It has to do with well, I won't get into it too much, but basically he said like we weren't welcome back anymore, and so we started looking for other backyards to play in, but there weren't as many available. So we started playing at parks. And parks in Cincinnati, they attract a different type of person than you're used to. But that's good too, because that helps us get a lot of diversity in our league. So we found one guy who, if you're familiar with the Big Lebowski, he kind of looks a lot like the main character. Might have the main profession. Aaron knows him very well. But, you know, here and there we just picked up more people, and at one point we looked around and we said, you know, we've got 15 people in here that we send emails to. We should start a league. And so that kind of happened, and we'll let the commissioner here talk about what happened and how it came together.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a great highlighting of how our league started. Kevin Hayes was actually, I'd like to that's become a big part, you know. Hayes was actually one of the founders of the league, so this was I think in 2010, which our logo says 2010 founded, so that's how I know that. But I didn't join until 2012. And when I joined, we had about 10, 12 guys. And then since then, you know, we've added a couple guys, and, you know, now we've got about 20 guys that play every summer with us. So we've got quite a good group of guys. They're mostly just friends of friends.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Aaron never came to play with us. He drove up and he had a surfboard on top of his car. And like being Midwesterners, like we're all really intimidated by anyone who doesn't like surfboarding, skateboarding, wakeboarding, snowboarding probably too. But the funny thing is, we asked Aaron if he ever went surfing. He said no. He just like driving around with a car. So that's a little piece of trivia about the club.
So why do you guys call it a club instead of a league? Because there's no other. It's very like old timey baseball feeling.
That's kind of what we're going for. Yeah, I mean, we haven't let women play yet. I don't think as of right now there's any plans to. So
Definitely not.
Yeah, we just think keeping the club name lets us be like a little more sexist, a little more, you know, whatever you want to call it. But we just think the club kind of the club name that says, hey, this is who we are. Take it or leave it. If we go league, then it's like, well, everyone's welcome. And, you know, that's certainly
exactly.
The case.
It reeks of exclusivity.
That's right.
Okay. So you guys have been around since 2010, and then I'm assuming last year was the first year you guys got into the NWA too, right? Like.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. You guys just get in and decide to participate in a tournament right away. Kudos, by the way. There's lots of leagues that just sort of hang out in the back for like 10 years and then speak up. So you guys got right on it. What were your initial thoughts on the tournament last year?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start. So I thought it was great. And actually, it's a little known fact is that we tried to get into the tournament in 2012, but I found out about it and emailed the day after it closed. So, you know, I missed the ball on that one. So I was like, next year we're getting in there. So, spots in the tournament, it was awesome. I mean, I think that you won't find a better run wiffle ball tournament anywhere in the world, country, anywhere It was very well run, very well put together, smooth oiled machine, lots of fun, teams from everywhere. It was a great experience. I can't say anything bad about it, except for the home run derby hats. Those were crappy.
Yeah. Kevin, you got anything to say?
I'm still trying to see some of the fastballs that were thrown when I was in the batter's box. I was a little overwhelmed by some of the pitchers, but I don't think I was the only one by looking at some of the ERAs. But yeah, it was really impressive. It was a really good time. It was intimidating, but also had a little camaraderie to it, and I could see the teams that knew each other were old friends by then, and maybe one day we'll be counted among that group. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and looking forward to this year, and I have a little better idea of what to expect, so I'll probably have no confidence I'm going to get there and just go out there looking for a walk.
That's what I did last year. It did not turn out so well. You guys didn't throw the heat so much, but you guys had probably the nastiest, I don't even know what to call the balls that that were pitched. Not a curveball. You guys had Aaron had this weird pitch. It was like a roller coaster coming at me. Is that the go-to style of pitching in your league, or?
We
Go ahead, Aaron. Just let me.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Haynes has a rule that if it's too fast for him to hit, we can't pitch that fast. So that's typically how it goes. But yeah, we throw medium pitch, slow pitch, I'd say. We focus on movement versus velocity in our league, which, really is fine art.
Yeah, I'm allowed, as a founder of the club, and I keep the equipment in my garage, I'm actually allowed to choose the ball that the pitcher throws, and I always pick I guess it's not a wiffle ball, it's like almost like a large golf ball with holes all around. Just moves less, easier for me to hit. I don't let anyone else use that ball, but what are they going to do?
Okay. So what are you guys looking forward to this year? Were there any things about the tournament that you wish either were better next year or were not there next year? Any critiques?
Yeah. I think all the guys that came were pretty cool. I hope the weather is better this year. It was a little rainy. I'm hoping that I perform a little bit better this year. I'm hoping for a miraculous arm recovery. Back when I was in college, I was working out on my Total Gym fitness machine and hurt my arm pretty bad. And so then I re-injured it filming a blitzball video. So my arm has been pretty much on the fritz lately. So I'm hoping that by next summer, with a lot of rehab and prayer, that my arm will be ready and I'll be able to throw a little bit harder than I was able to this last year. So that's a big thing for me this year.
Okay.
Excuses aside, I really regret ordering the chili when we went to Potbelly Deli one day. I think it was a Saturday. The guys on my team just kind of gave it to me, and I've got a perfectly reasonable lunch order. But
no, not in the middle of a wiffle ball tournament.
There's no bad time for chili.
It is.
But yeah, that's something I like to do over. I might go for a soup. But, depending on the weather, soup's not always the best thing to have, so I might transition to something different. There's something I'm going to look into, give that a lot of thought. But other than that, just, try to have a good attitude, and if I strike out 6 times in a game, just remember that we lose as a team, not as a player.
Kevin Haynes, you only said struck out 6 times in a game because I struck out 7 times in a game last year. That's the only reason you brought that up.
Aaron's a Saturday player. Sunday was a little rough.
I think that's one thing, Josh, is with stamina, right? I think, our whole team, our pitching was pretty weak, but our stamina was even weaker. We came out on Sunday morning, and we all felt like death. We're a little bit older. Some of us are parents. So we just didn't have our game on Sunday morning, and I think that really affected us. And I think I made probably 50% of the outs I made all tournament in one game on Sunday. It was rough.
Against us.
Because I didn't go to church.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the stamina, I can definitely agree. That was because, a lot of us were we're getting close to 30 on my team. And, we're going against teams like franchise where, they're barely drinking age, and they've been, athletes for most of their lives. And it's very hard to compete against that. As far as
I don't know for a lot of minutes to get older. You can all relate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Supplements.
Right.
I think I'm just going to bring all Cubans this year. That's what I'm going to.
I like that.
Do they not
follow
like the aging pattern, or
what is it?
Do they not age the same way that Americans do?
I don't know.
Cuban cigars, what he meant, not Cuban immigrants.
No, I meant immigrants.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I thought we were celebrating our old age with Cuban cigars.
No, considering a farm team system.
We did have one person from Ecuador. I think it was an Ecuador play with us a couple summers ago.
Yeah, Santa Cruz.
That's right, Santa Cruz, Ecuador. That was a pretty good time. He was pretty good, but his colors don't run, so you knew he wasn't like a long-term fit with the club. But it was fun just to see how he played and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It was great, yeah. But we're pumped. We're excited. We're improving. We're ready.
Ese compa ya está muerto. No más no le han avisado.
Okay. So moving on from the tournament. In which case, I hope we play you again. That was some of the most fun we had during the tournament was playing you guys, and we were lucky enough to play you twice last year. So it'd be fun if we got you again.
Definitely.
That's coming up here. We almost had you that second game. I thought
you did. You guys started putting some hits together.
And then
we were all getting nervous.
Yeah, that Sunday morning, it was a big stink because we took that forfeit, which wasn't entirely.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that wasn't my decision. I was for playing, but everybody else was gassed. But excuses aside, we went and played Potomac, and we got even closer to winning. I thought I thought it was going to happen, but it didn't. It didn't happen. But next year, I just want to win a game. One game. That's all I want.
Now, you guys will get there. You're like, just give me that point where they're just going to start counting. And I say that as an expert who's played like 6 games of that tournament. So,
I agree. And Malcolm Gladwell would call it the tipping point.
That's right.
I believe you guys are close.
That's right. Good reference with the Gladwell there.
Yes.
I think we were just we made the same progress you can expect from any league the first year they participate. You bring people who can just go. This year I'm hoping we can actually have more than just a few people want to go and sort of be able to pick the best and be able to more equally compete. We could bring our best and still get the crap kicked out of us by like Freaky Franchise, but I would just like to finish somewhere in the middle. That's what I'd like. I'm not disillusioned.
No, I agree. I'm actually hoping that we can be more exclusive this year. We won't have to bring Kevin Haynes.
I actually totally understand that. If I had to, I think there's a whole statistics thing, so I know who's the weak link on the team, but I would say and my bio from it said it, I was always very punctual. I was always the guy being like, all right, I think we should head over to our field now. We should get warmed up, or we should just be there. So, I just don't want my options to go unappreciated. I do the little things right.
You're like a fluffer. You're the fluffer.
Exactly. I do the jobs that no one else wants to do, and there's value in that. And if I am not invited back, we might be late for a game. So I just want to throw that out there. If it happens, I want to absolve myself of this.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as they expand the rosters to 15, you're guaranteed a spot, Haynes. Guaranteed a spot.
Yeah, I'm still waiting to hear on that. I haven't been on the conference calls, but
let me tell you about that rule right now. That is a ploy by Big Woods because they think they have more good pitchers than everybody else. I'm just going to hit it just as it is.
I won't disagree.
Those guys don't want to face Ryan Bush and Harley every other game because they're deeper in pitching.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's truth. Yeah.
Boom.
That, and I think it could help with leagues like ours that have older people in them that, we just can't. I know I can't. I know for sure this year I want to not play for the team. I want to go there, but in more of like a coaching role. I don't want to. Like I was the worst player on the team, easy. No doubt about it. But
gosh, I don't know about that. There were a lot of really bad guys on the team.
Well, but I mean, you were like really a really nice guy, and teams need that. It doesn't show up in the stats, but it shows up in the gray area of the game.
Yeah.
You got to have a nice guy. We don't have any of them, especially Aaron.
I agree. And no one wants to play with a bunch of assholes.
Aaron's making enemies right now, calling out people on a podcast, and it just leads to trouble. You got to have the guys who just, with a smile. I mean, Craig Dino, this one guy on my team, there are not enough words to describe how awful this guy is. And I feel like every game we play, I'm just waiting for the moment that he erupts and he does something like really awful, and we're left to apologize for it, and then we're not invited back. So don't underestimate having a nice guy in your team. It can go a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Dino's not even like the dumbest guy in our league, totally. I mean, we got a guy in Anthony that's even dumber.
Yeah, he is so stupid. It would take too long to get into the details of it, but
mild correct.
Okay. Well, we talk about the tournament extensively. Let's talk more in depth about your league. Okay, so you guys haven't been around too long, and you've sort of you've done well for a small league. You guys probably would have about 4 or 5 teams if you guys went the whole team route. So I can relate with that because my old league, you guys have more people in your league now than my old league did at its pinnacle. So it's hard to do a lot with only a couple dozen guys.
Yeah.
So what are your expectations for 2014? What's going to happen? And feel free to go in depth as possible because not that many people know a lot about your league because we depend on websites so much, and not everybody wants to spend every waking moment putting stuff on the website like Carl for Whiffle South Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's called the off season for a reason, Carl. Take it off. Okay. 2 other things: expand your interest, become a sommelier. Do some things.
For some people, it's just more than a hobby.
I can talk a little bit about our league and give some background. So, actually, interestingly enough, our league will be kind of at an interesting point in our history this year because we will actually have more people who are now dads than people who are not dads. So, starting 2 years ago, we had 0 to 1 dads, depending on what the paternity test said. But now we probably have about 9 guys who become dads. So as you can imagine, our flexibility and times has really changed. So I think that'll be something to watch this year will be if we can consistently get enough guys to come. So going into kind of some depth on our league, we play, starting last year, we started up kind of this movement to try to get a little bit more competitiveness. So we played for, the past 4 years, and we probably, I don't hate the stat geek over there, but we probably played over 100 games this summer, right? For about 4 years. And, when you play the same guys over and over again, really all you have to live for is personal stats. And since, when I joined the league, we knew that all the best personal stats would be mine. It kind of lost a lot of the interest, right, for a lot of people. So we tried to create some teams. And when we had the teams, what we did is that basically at the beginning of the year, we play every weekend. And so what we try to do is institute once a month we play like league games essentially. So on the first, this year I think we're planning it for May. I want to say it's week of May 15th. I think it is. So basically we send out a note to everybody, find out what the day is that most guys can come. Try to get about 16 guys there. And what we do is then we draft teams. So we pick 4 teams of 4. Those teams will stick with you and you'll play once every month. You come back out there and you play 6 league games. So by the end of the season, you've played 3 months of league games. So you've played about 18 games total in the league. And then in September, at the very end, we have a best of 5 World Series with the 2 top teams. So your teams stay constant. You get a little bit more competition. You get a little bit of pride in your team. So losers like Kevin Haynes can be on a winning team even though they're not very good. And it inspires those guys to, the nobodies to keep coming out and playing. So that's essentially the league style that we run. As far as just playing every week, we play almost every weekend, right? So we go out there and we typically play between 5 and 6 games every weekend. We use the famous team picking method of spinning the bat in the air, and where the bat lands is how it bends, So that's pretty much how we pick teams on normal weekends. But we instituted the league because, we need the competition. We know that, guys get a little bit complacent, start playing for stats, and it's just not as fun. Haynes, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I like to find a way to turn a profit. On the sport, licensing.
Yes.
I would have thought, Wiffle Club, all white males, I thought someone in Cincinnati would have jumped all over that. Someone from like the outer area. It hasn't happened. Last year I asked everyone to chip in, for new balls, and they were really eager to do it. And I thought, this year maybe I could like bump that up a little bit and then just like pocket some money and, go get like a Pizza Hut or something. So I'm looking for ways to kind of like sweeten the pot for me a little bit. I mean, as I don't have kids, but you start finding like that you need a little extra something to get you out there in the morning. So anything that would help, even if it's just extra few bucks in my pocket would probably do it. Still want to get one other person in the club to write an article that actually makes it through the editing process for the site. I asked for second drafts and it never happened. So I'd love it if that could come through. It's a burden to have to update it. I can't keep up with demands. And so that's kind of a struggle.
Standards are so high.
Excuse me for wanting to have periods in the right place.
I get it, but it's not the New York Times, man. Post one of the articles I send you.
It might not be the New York Times, but it's at least a post. And I just think that it's good to have standards. It's good to adhere to them. I won't throw anything out there. And Dino has been mulling over an article for a couple of years. So waiting on that one. But I'd like to get a bigger lawnmower. We kind of mow the grass when we play. It takes forever. Sometimes I feel like we spend more time mowing the grass than we actually do playing. But mowing the grass is fun. You can put patterns in and things like that. But, it's not lasting work. It grows back and you feel bad about it. We're looking for little ways. I think we've established enough that we just need to tweak the edges of the club rather than overhaul everything. It's been fun. It's been a great part of being, great part of living in Cincinnati, and I don't think it needs too many changes to survive.
Okay. Well, you guys talked about the website for a little bit. You guys have a very simple website, but it's pretty sleek. It's got a good design. Looks like you guys use Blogspot. Is that what you use?
Yes. That's it.
Okay. Okay. We use that too. We recently started using Wix, but Blogger is good. It's simple to work with and easy. But the thing about your website is you guys don't update a lot, and it's mainly you guys have dumped some stats on there from 2011, 2012. I'm not sure if you guys have your 2013s on there or not. I haven't been able to process. Will you guys ever get to a point to where you can maybe you guys? I think you're ranked in the top 20 as far as website rankings presently. There's some new ones pending that are going to come out sometime this March. Will you guys ever be one of those? What is it?
I mean, we all know the ranking system is flawed. What we look for is quality, not quantity. I'd say our top 5 posts are as good or better as any top 5 posts from any other site. Giving updates about, just, one trivial thing after another, just wouldn't sustain our readership. They look for, we're not trying to be, Dean Koontz here, or start, going for more of a Jonathan Franzen approach, where, one big novel every 10 years, everyone freaks out, they love it, they can't stop talking about it. Just see it for 10 years and come back, and make the same impression. That's kind of what we're going for.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you look at our logo, we have the sexiest logo in all of wiffle ball.
And I think everyone can agree on it.
Bar none.
Mm-hmm.
Bar none. Sexiest logo.
And really, what do you decide a good logo? You see the logo, you're like, this is good. I've got all I need.
Yeah. And I think we should post more. I think we've got other things that, take up a lot of our time. So, like, sending 40 email-long chains about video games to each other. And we got a lot of other interests.
Yeah,
so
right, yeah. Emailing about video
things.
games it takes up a lot of time.
It's a club aspect.
It is.
But, I don't know. Is Titanfall a game worth purchasing the new gen console over? I don't know. We'll find out.
If we could find a way to fit this on the blog, I would do it, but I just don't think it would go with wiffle ball. I also spend a lot of time waiting in line at Chipotle, and that starts to take away my wiffle ball time, my wiffle ball writing time, I should say. So
that's where I am right now, Kevin. It's funny you mentioned that.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yep.
Okay. It's not just about writing. A lot of leagues now are trying to get more into the video. I know you have photos on the site, correct?
Hello? Take them off.
Hello?
Hey, you guys have photos on the site, correct?
Yeah, we do
videos
up there.
Okay.
We have some videos, yeah.
A lot of leagues are going more with videos. Do you guys ever see yourselves maybe posting game videos more often or anything like that?
Yeah, the thing about game videos is it's just a lot of work, and I'm lazy. And I don't know, it's hard to do. My wife kicked over our video camera the other night in the bedroom, and I don't know if the quality there anymore. So I don't really have any plans to do any more videos.
And we might an occasional, Vine or something like that, but, actual game videos, I watch some of those for wiffle ball. They're kind of boring. Condense it down, give me the highlights.
I agree.
Even said, I don't, highlights seem like a lot of work, too. So.
Yeah. That's where the work comes in, yeah.
Cutting it and everything, so.
Much easier to throw the whole file.
Every time Aaron put together a highlight video, there wasn't enough of me in it. So then, I'd get mad, I'd write him a note, and then he'd get mad. And
special thanks to Aaron Torchio and Kevin Haynes for that interview. We look forward to seeing them again this July when we participate again in the NCAA tournament. They were a blast to play last year, and they're really funny guys, cool guys to hang out with. Looking forward to seeing them again. And that is all we have to discuss on this episode of the Huntington Wiffle League podcast. Next month, we're looking at guest Ryan Pritt of Breaking Balls. Should be very interesting to see what he has to say about the season, since he transplanted from the Charleston Wiffle Ball League fall ball last year, which ended up being aborted. So it'll be real interesting to see their point of view from the league as we know it coming back next month. Should be an interesting interview.
Definitely.
Yes. That is all we have to discuss this month on the Huntington Wiffle League podcast. Signing off, I'm your host, Josh Smith, with my co-host and producer,
Jeremy Litton.
We'll talk to you soon.
Do you want to listen to more HWL podcasts? Hell yeah! Then go to HuntingtonWiffleball.com and click on podcasts. Woo!